put some points up. So that team is just not looking like the team that I thought it would be.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into the Wizards.
Yeah, I don't even have notes for this. I'm gonna let you take this one over.
Right.
I might add little things here and there.
Yeah, feel free to interrupt whenever.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the Wizards, I think there's three main issues. I think the first issue is their defense definitely needs serious work. I think another issue is that I think Westbrook and Beal as well both need to pick better shots. And the final issue is Scott Brooks, okay? Look, I have so much to say about Scott Brooks. So this all started in the offseason. I'm looking right at the camera for this. This all started in the offseason when they traded a Wall for Westbrook, right? When you bring in that big of a piece into your team, you need to build chemistry between him and Beal, who's your other star player. When you bring in a player of Westbrook's caliber, someone who demands the ball a lot, someone who's just like, he's another star. He needs to learn how to play with Beal. Wall didn't need to do that. He knows how to play with Beal. Westbrook doesn't. This is his first time playing with another very, very good star guard. Besides Harden, but Harden wasn't a star yet at OKC. Westbrook and Beal need chemistry. And so what does Scott Brooks do? He doesn't play them in any preseason games together. What is up with that? This is a shortened season, a shortened training camp. Are you just going to figure it out while you're going along in the season? That seems to be his attitude. He's very laid back about it. Look, the Wizards' defense is horrendous. Just because Westbrook and Beal are cooking the Wizards in defense, the Wizards' bench units, doesn't mean they're going to do that against NBA-level defenders who are legitimately trying to stop them. Practice is not the same as a real game. Even preseason is not the same as a real game. But it's better, it's closer than practice. Why do you not play them together in preseason? I don't understand that. I get he wanted to see some of the young guys. He wanted to see some of the role players. But we don't have time for that. There's 72 games in the season. There's only 3 preseason games. There's a shortened training camp. Play those two together. At least for one game. Get them accustomed to each other. He's holding this team back with his god-awful rotations, man. Look, I've heard Scott Brooks complain so much about defense and about how we need to get stops, we need to play better transition defense, all this stuff. He keeps talking about that, but he benches and doesn't play Isak Bonga, the team's best defender. Did you know last season, in defensive real plus minus, Isak Bonga was number 3 in the entire league for the small forward position. He was the 3rd best defender behind LeBron James and I believe Kawhi Leonard in defensive real plus minus in the league. If you account for the garbage time and take out the garbage time, that is. He was 3rd best. That good of a defender. I know he's a little anemic on offense. I know but he does hit corner threes. He can handle the ball a little bit, so he's not totally useless on offense. He's our best defender. If we have a defensive problem, play him. It's so obvious. It's such an obvious decision. It literally baffles my mind how he just hasn't done it. Jerome Robinson, he's brought in Jerome Robinson instead. And Jerome Robinson, he's been decent on defense. I actually really like what he's brought to the table on defense. And he's also been good he's been okay on offense.
Yeah.
But look, man, if you want to improve your defense, why don't you start by playing your best defender? It's just such an obvious thing. I feel like I'm going crazy just trying to mention it. Like I feel like Scott Brooks should be like, oh, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what's up with this. And oh my goodness, he plays 3 guard rotations. He has Raul Neto. He's 6'3". He has Raul Neto playing small forward. Small forward. Imagine Raul Neto matching up against 6'9" LeBron James. Are you kidding me? You're begging. You're begging to get destroyed on defense. You're begging for it. And sometimes he plays 4 guard rotations. 4 guards in the NBA? Are we the Rockets? We saw how well that worked for the Rockets. We don't have anybody on the level of James Harden or Robert Covington or even PJ Tucker on this team. You can't play a lineup of Westbrook, Beal, Neto, and Troy Brown Jr. with Thomas Bryant at center and then complain about the defense. What is up with that? How do you complain about that? You're putting bad lineups out there. It's like asking an apple to become an orange. You can't.
I kind of interject.
Go ahead.
Davis Bertans on defense is really bad as well, and they keep him in a lot of times in late game situations just because of height. But defensively, he can't even rebound very well either for his height.
He's horrible.
He's awful. He's awful.
But there's a reason for that, and I'll get to that in a little bit.
All right.
So another thing that Scott Brooks does is that he just doesn't know how to manage minutes. He doesn't. I mean, look, he's been quoted as saying, that he just basically plugs and plays guys, and he's like, oh, well, I don't know what I'm going to get. I keep plugging different guys in, I keep getting something different. Dude, like, you expect every player to play the exact same in every single game? No. Of course, when you plug in different guys, different stuff is going to happen, dude. It's just so, like, his reasonings for the stuff he does is just so illogical to me. It's just, he needs to learn how to just do the obvious thing. Take your 9 best guys, no matter who they are, just take your 9 or 10 best guys and just play them. That's it. The reason I think Scott Brooks keeps playing 3 or 4 guard lineups is because he wants to find minutes for these guys. You can find minutes for them in other ways. He wants to play Ish Smith, and he also wants to play Raul Neto. But we also have Westbrook, and we also have Beal, right? So what can you do in that situation? Well, I don't know. Maybe you can play Westbrook along with Neto. Maybe you can play Beal along with Ish Smith. And he does want to play Troy Brown as well. So if you do put Troy Brown in as the backup bench, maybe you demote Ish Smith to third string as a point guard, and you can bring him in the second half. Let Neto handle the first half, put Ish Smith in the second half. There's so many solutions other than playing Raul Neto and at small forward. Like, that doesn't solve anything. He's yelling at nobody. He's yelling at a brick wall because he's creating all his problems. He's building this brick wall in front of him, and then he's yelling at it and being like, why aren't you concrete? Like, what? You're the one that's doing this. You're part of the problem. And okay. Scott Brooks doesn't know how to utilize playmakers that are above 6'4". He's holding Denny Avdia back. Did you know Denny Avdia, his plus minus is actually ridiculous. When he's on the floor, Wizards are plus 52. When he's off the floor, they're minus 65. For a rookie, that is an absolutely insane number. The impact he has on our offense and our defense in general is amazing. So, why do I say he's holding him back? It's because he's doing the same thing to him as he has done to Troy Brown for the past few years. He's trying to turn Troy Brown into a 3-and-D guy because he doesn't know how to run sets where Troy Brown handles the ball. He doesn't know how to run offense like that. And he doesn't know how to run offense where Denny handles the ball. And let me say, Denny is a jack of all trades. He can do a little bit of everything. And playmaking is one of his strengths. Why are you not using his strengths? You're just turning him into, they're trying to turn him into a 3-and-D catch and shoot guy. And while he can do that, he is good at that, he can do so much more. Unleash Denny. Let him come with the bench a little bit. Let him handle the ball. He's shown flashes of incredible passing in certain games where he gets to handle the ball. Do that more often. I don't know why he's not. Well, actually, I can tell you why he's not. It's because they don't run any type of offense. They just say, here's the ball and go. Half the time on Russell Westbrook's shots, I keep looking at him and he's standing there like waiting for somebody to do something. Set a screen, do some off-ball movement. There's no off-ball movement. There's nothing. There's barely any screen setting. Scott Brooks knows how to do 2 plays. He knows how to do a drag screen and he knows how to do a pick and roll. That's all he knows how to do. Those are the only 2 books in his playbook. Only 2 plays in his playbook. Russell Westbrook will sit there and just be like waiting for somebody to do something, and he's already picked up his dribble, so he can't move. And then time is running out, and he's like, okay, well, I have to shoot this now. And that's why his percentages look pretty bad. It's because he's he's being forced to take these shots that he shouldn't be shooting in the first place. But that's not totally on Westbrook. It's because nobody off ball is doing anything. Scott Brooks hasn't taught this team how to do anything except for swing the ball once in a while. But you can't keep swinging the ball if nobody's open, if nobody's driving, if none of that is happening. The offense is completely stagnant and it's horrendous. It's horrible to watch. Genuinely. Rui Hachimura against I believe it was the Bulls in the second game when he came back, his first game, he was 5 of 6 at halftime. Scott Brooks didn't draw up any plays to get him the ball more. And he ended, I think it was 7 of 9. Come on. He was hot going into the half. Keep feeding him. Instead, he just tells Westbrook and Beal and Raul Neto, tells all of them to go out there and just do whatever. His 3 or 4 guard lineups, it wouldn't be bad if their offense could keep up with it, but their offense just doesn't because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. He's just saying, go play. Seriously. I mean, it's legitimately ridiculous. And let me tell you something about Russell Westbrook. Scott Brooks is holding back Russell Westbrook as well. Let me tell you why. So, in the preseason, I remember Scott Brooks did say something about how he doesn't let Russell Westbrook dunk in practice. He has a no dunk rule for Russell Westbrook. Do you want to know why he has that rule? Because according to him, you only have so many dunks left at that age. Dude, Vince Carter was 40 still putting up dunks. People that can dunk like that don't lose that ability until they're at least 50 or so, man. What do you mean he has so many dunks? If you're worried about him getting injured, I understand that. But then why are you letting him take layups in practice? In basketball, if you jump, you run the risk of getting injured, no matter how high you're jumping or what. So if you're worried about Russell Westbrook getting injured from dunking by jumping, why are you letting him take layups? He's jumping either way. Let him dunk it. Westbrook's game is based on a lot of hype and energy. He can't get that energy from a little jelly layup. He gets that energy by dunking it. And it energizes not just him, the whole team. The whole team gets hyped when he dunks. And telling him not to dunk in practice is rubbing off in the games. Because now something's going through his head, I'm pretty sure, where he's just no dunk, no dunk, no dunk. He's so used to saying that to himself in practice that he's doing it on the floor, in the game. You should practice how you play. Because those are the habits you will create. And Westbrook's creating habits that Scott Brooks has forced upon him that are not good, that aren't good for his game, that aren't good for the team, anything. Straight up, look, there's an account called Scout by Brian, and he was a former Wizard scout, and he went off on Scott Brooks after the Bulls loss. He said that Scott Brooks doesn't watch any film, he doesn't prepare for games, he doesn't draw up plays, he barely even uses whiteboards. And it's very obvious that you can literally see all that on the court. You can see exactly all these issues that are on the court. Straight up. I don't care that they beat the Nets. I don't care that they beat the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were missing Karl-Anthony Towns, who would have dropped 50 probably on Thomas Bryant. I love Thomas Bryant, but he probably would have dropped 50 on him.
And Thomas Bryant would have probably found out in the process of that as well.
Exactly. I'm not impressed by the Nets win because the Nets just straight up choked it. I wouldn't say the Wizards won it. I would say the Nets straight up choked it. Because they had 2 good looks at the end of the game to win it, and they missed. KD was literally wide open. 90% of the time, he hits that shot. If he did, everyone will be talking about, dang, our defense sucked. But now, I feel like some Wizards fans are like, yo, this is it, we're going on a run. Nah. As long as we have Scott Brooks as our coach, I don't think we're going anywhere. And at this point, it seems like Tommy Shepard's picking Scott Brooks over Bradley Beal. That's what it feels like to me. Because if you really wanted the best for this team, you would have fired Scott Brooks last year.
Oh, yeah. Most certainly.
Scott Brooks, I don't want to take anything away from him in the fact of, he's a good developmental coach. I think Scott Brooks is at his best when he's playing on a team with no expectations with a bunch of young players. Then they can develop them to the best of their games and just roll with them. But as a coach who's supposed to contend or try to make the playoffs, he doesn't do it for me, man. He He's not good enough. I don't understand why he's not on the hot seat. I haven't heard any reports about him being on the hot seat at all, which is just, in my opinion, ridiculous. And he's genuinely holding this team back. He needs to play Isak Bonga more. He needs to play. You can't keep preaching about defense and not play your best defender. There's so many obvious solutions to this. I'm in a Wizards group chat, and all the guys in there came up with better rotations and schemes than our coach, our head coach. These are just fans of the game. And they seem like they're putting in more work than Scott Brooks is to developing the rotations, the minutes, and the offense. And I do want to say something about Rui. He definitely needs to feed Rui more. He needs to run more plays for Rui. I don't want to see all this fade into non-existence type stuff. Because Otto Porter basically faded into non-existence when Scott Brooks is with him. And he's looking really good on the Bulls right now. I wonder why.
Yeah, he gave us 26 points when he played against us.
28, I think.
28, wow.
And Rui, I'm scared that's going to happen to Rui and Denny. I'm really scared. Those two are the wings for the future of this team. I wouldn't be surprised if Beal was off this team. I'm not going to lie. By the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded this offseason. I wouldn't. I'd be okay with it as long as we got a really good package. And my heart was already ripped out of my chest when John Wall left. That was when I was like, this is probably the end for this Wizards team. I could see Beal getting traded. I hope we get a good package for him. I'm just going to try to enjoy watching Beal as much as I can this season. Because if Scott Brooks is still the coach by the end of the year, which this is his last year, so he's not going to play. I assume he's not going to get re-signed. I hope he does not get re-signed. But if Scott Brooks is still the coach by the end of the year, I think Beal's gone. Because I don't see this team making any higher than the 8th seed, which Beal doesn't want to make. He wants to make a little bit of a higher seed. He said that. This team started 0-5. And they dropped so many winnable games, twice against the Magic and twice against the Bulls. They could have won technically all of those games. At best, they could be 4-1 right now. At worst, they should have been 2 and 3 at worst. He needs to go. Yeah. Scott Brooks, I don't like to call for people's jobs like that. I think it's a little, messed up, but I'm just saying if I was the Wizards GM, I would take a very hard look. I would very carefully study what Scott Brooks is doing and the effect he has on this team. Because I've noticed ever since we've had Scott Brooks, this wasn't a problem with Randy Whitman, the former coach. We always played to our competition. We always played down to whoever's worse than us. We always play up to whoever's better than us. We never beat the bad teams we're supposed to beat. And I'd say a lot of that's coaching. He's not preparing them mentally, physically. Something's going wrong here. Mm-hmm. Just get rid of Scott Brooks. Bring in Kenny Atkinson or just somebody else. This team needs a new person at the helm. Scott Brooks has been here too long, and he has not done enough. And he's been getting way too many chances. And I would be very surprised if he's on this team again going into next year. But if he's not on the hot seat after 0-5, I don't know when he's going to be in the hot seat. My biggest fear is that he gets re-signed. That's my biggest fear as a Wizards fan. Besides losing Beal, is that Scott Brooks gets re-signed.
One plays into another, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's basically everything I have on why the Wizards suck.
Yeah. I don't even put notes. I was literally just going to let you do all the talking. Honestly, for me, when it comes to the Wizards, you pretty much said everything. It's really just Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks is really holding his team back.